Hello, hello, hello. Just getting my local host up and running here. If you notice something weird with the production, audio, video quality, let me know. I will try to address that as quickly as possible. I think these have been getting a little bit more smooth each time, so hopefully this one continues to be so. Yeah, so check it out. You're going to see a local host right now. Um, just a blank screen while this is firing up here. What I did is I basically am running my Meteor app in production right now. Um, and apparently I'm getting an error while I'm doing so. So, let's check this out. Um, yeah, it's saying I can't find some sort of module. Either way, I ran this in production simply by running Meteor with my settings and then hyphen hyphen production, as you can sort of see here. Let me get this. There we go. And I also added the package bundle visualizer. This package right here is going to give us sort of an overview of where all of our data is going in Meteor. So let's see why I have a bunch of pink errors over here and try to fix it. Because I shouldn't be having anything. Cannot find core.js symbol iterator. I don't know why I would even be looking for symbol iterator core.js right now. So we're just going to hang out. I'm going to talk a little bit about basically what I'm going to be doing here while I see if this actually compiles. And if it doesn't, we're going to stop it. Maybe delete our node modules and try again. So what's going on here is basically I'm using the bundle visualizer package, which we talked about is going to show you a visual representation of your code and sort of where everything is and how we can fix it. Now, I've already gone through and made a ton of optimization, so much so that I've made my bundle size more than half of the size that it was originally. And I'm doing so through the use of this bundle visualizer tool to maybe show me some things like which packages I'm loading, but not necessarily using all of the entire package. I'm basically sort of just where my size issues are here, and some of these things I'm not going to be able to fix on this stream, such as the use of jQuery and the use of Blaze, because I'm currently using it for my user accounts. I've actually considered doing maybe like a community project where as a community we could develop a new user accounts package. I could start it in a video and then we could just have it totally open, maybe like a React based one, and keep it nice and simple. Just a thought. If anyone's interested in that, let me know. But yeah, so this is still not loading up, which is great because this is taking forever. Let me do this. I'm going to stop this production build. I'm going to delete my node modules folders just because I have a feeling like for some reason I just switched branches and this is definitely the issue here. I shouldn't obviously be an issue, but who knows. So just re-grabbing all my dependencies because, yeah, that's what I had planned on doing right now. And we're going to see if this compilation issue goes away. And another thing we're going to be showing on is this React Loadable package here. So this is under the James Kyle GitHub, and it's React Loadable. And this is a nice little fancy package that sort of really helps you use the new dynamic imports in Meteor. I mean, it's not for Meteor, it's a React package, but it helps you dynamically load and bundle up React components so that way your initial bundle size upon loading an app is way smaller than it would be. For instance, The entire Level Up store right now gets bundled into the main app. But with these dynamic imports and React Loadable, we can separate that store to be its own separate JavaScript bundle that the server can go and fetch only when it needs to. Okay. Okay, looks like I got all our packages. I'm now going to rerun this Meteor settings with development, and hopefully it's not going to take a epic amount of time again, and it's actually just going to work. Everything is taking a really long time during the live stream. It's been that way if you've watched the other ones. It's just, I think my computer's tapping out in that regard. I tried to get it started running beforehand, but apparently there was an issue with my dependencies, so of course that did not work. But we're going to see how this builds. But so to give you a little bit more on this React Loadable package here, let me zoom in here so you can sort of see what this code looks like. And this is what our code's going to be looking like. You're simply going to run this loadable function here, right? Loadable, you're going to pass it an object in which you give it a loader, which is going to be your dynamic import. And then you're also going to pass it a loading component. Now, you do that so while this is loading, it will show your loader, your loading icon while it's loading this new bundle and having to fetch it. And like I said, this works very, very well with Meteor's new dynamic imports and exact bundling to save you a bunch of space. In terms of your package bundle size is going to be bigger or smaller, your load times are going to be faster, and your users are going to be happier. So in my experience, it's made a big difference. So while this minifies the code here, we'll just hang out. If you have any questions, you can ask me a question now, because like I said, I'm just waiting for this code to compile here. Sorry, I just realized my camera's pointed to the sky. Let's get this down. Oh, no frowny face for React. React is awesome. Minifying app code still. Okay, we're gonna wait here. Like I said, ask me any questions. If you have any questions right now, now is a good time. Yes, Blaze does rule. I actually really like Blaze, but on a project of this size, I don't know if I love Blaze. So this, I should note that doing a production build of your site anyways is also pretty time consuming typically. So the fact that it's like taking forever right now while I'm live streaming and my CPU is slammed, in addition to it already being a pretty heavy process, is probably pretty normal, to be honest. Um, so the question here is, if you start using React with Meteor, but then you want to use a different backend, is it easy to keep your React code base? Well, part of it potentially, right? Yes and no. If you build an entire new backend for it, right? If you build an entire new backend like an Express and Mongoose and stuff like that, there's no reason why you couldn't just use your database and just rewrite any of that Meteor stuff outside of Meteor. Yeah, you could replace Meteor. That said, it would be a lot more difficult if you were also having to replace your database. Like, let's say you were moving to MySQL from Meteor. The fact that you'd have to move your data from Mongo to MySQL would probably be a pretty big pain. But that said, you could do it. Yeah. And in fact, all of your, if you built your React site, it honestly shouldn't care if you're using Meteor as a backend. Like, for the most part, the only things in my site that touch Meteor are like my data containers and stuff like that. Okay, next question is, how do you get ideas about what to make? Pick things that you like in your life and make something to make that a little bit better. Like, I make apps for breakdancing stuff because I like breakdancing. I made an app to catalog my favorite kung fu movies because I love kung fu. Yeah. So just like take something in your life, whether it's, um, video games, movies, art, dance, whatever, and just make something fun based on that. Nobody has to use it. Like nobody else uses my Kung Fu app other than me, and I don't even use it that much to be honest. But it was fun to make, and it taught me a lot. Any recommendations for learning ES6? I recommend just doing everything in ES6 and you'll slowly get better at it. I'll show you some examples of code as we go of some ES6 stuff. You'll want to just do it. Like, um, pick things out here and there, but also just read other people's code, whether it's React and stuff like that, and just see what they're doing. And instead of brushing off these like maybe fancier new stuff, instead of like just brushing it off as like, okay, that's some code I maybe don't get, like really try to figure out what they're doing and why, because chances are if they're doing it a specific way, there's a good reason. Okay, so let's dive into this. You can see that we have this new Daisy disk style um, graph here, right? So if we hover over this main bundle, you can see something kind of outrageous. It's 3.1 megabytes, which is kind of huge. Obviously, I don't think what 3.1 megabytes is not something you want to be serving, right? Because that's a big old file that everyone has to download every time. So this is the actual bundle of the main JavaScript file that they had to get just to load my homepage. And that includes every page on the site, the store, the tutorials, everything like that. And that's not cool, right? Because you can see just by looking at each of these squares, you can see that there's definitely stuff I don't need here. For instance, okay, this is a big one. I have this bundle here, and this is a library, a Meteor library uh, for the AWS SDK. Now, what's wild about this is for some reason this library is 956 kilobytes, and this is a Meteor package. I don't know who made this, but it's a Meteor package, right? And for some reason, this thing is gigantic, and I had no idea this package would be this huge because I just added it. Hey, why not add it? And you don't think about that kind of stuff when you're just initially building all the time. Now, of course, the solution here is to go to uh, AWS's official npm package, and I just grabbed the official AWS package from npm, and I saved nearly an entire megabyte just from that, like 30% of my app knocked off just from finding that this package somehow was gigantic. And so I didn't know that this size was this big on this package until I fired up the bundle visualizer to find this out. So if you're not at least looking at the bundle visualizer every once in a while to sort of just check out the landscape of your packages, then that's a big mistake. So yeah, so it's you can see this giant chunk of thing was immediately gone. I immediately saved 30% of the size of my app. Cool. So we're also going to fire up the bundle visualizer in the next version of the app. I have another branch in which I've already made these optimizations. I just kind of want to show you what I'm going through and doing. I'm using Node.js as a backend. I'm using Node.js with Meteor. So Meteor to handle sort of data. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so next you see bundle, which is basically all of your components, all of your server or your client side code here that I wrote. So if you come in here, you can see here's my imports folder, here's my UI folder, and here's some pages, the store. And you can see the store, the level up store entirely it takes up 3% of my bundle size. But if we were to use these dynamic imports, which I will be, you can cut this entire bit out just by dynamically importing all that stuff. Now, another big little chunk here is this Google Ads script, which I'm going to be bringing in a different way instead of just loading it up statically, because this is taking up 1% of my app size. Now, you might think that 1% is splitting hairs, but this is 36 kilobytes that the user doesn't have to download if you can do this another way. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go through these kind of things if I have something that's individually 3.5 kilobytes here and it's like taking up nothing, right? 0.1%. That is not a great optimization. But if I can grab this whole thing, whatever that is, 100 kilobytes, It's a way to do it. So you can see I also have some stuff that I can't get rid of, right? This is the accounts package, Respondly, a utilities that I believe comes with another package. It's a dependency of one. Can't get rid of it. Another thing I have here is jQuery. I'm not using it. It's being loaded because I think I'm loading up Blaze and it's a dependency. I'm not positive that, but I don't need it. And I would rather get rid of it if I could, but it's tied to the accounts package that I'm using, and I need to rewrite my account system to get rid of that. Okay, so you can see here, these are now sort of our Meteor packages. You can see Blaze is taking up 38 kilobytes. I'm not even really I'm using it because I can't get rid of it, but I'm not significantly using it. I'll have to rewrite my accounts to get rid of it. Simple schema, this sort of stuff, these are getting into small packages that you don't really matter. Now, next we have this big chunk, which is our node packages, our node modules. You can see we have our node modules folder, and then you can start with the biggest ones and go smaller. We have a question here that says React, Redux, Node, Meteor. Where does Meteor fit in? So basically, it doesn't necessarily serve the same purpose as Express, or it is your backend, but it also is the connection to the front end. You're writing data publications where you can subscribe to data and have a client-side data store that you can pull data from very quickly. You can do a lot of reactive stuff through WebSockets. And basically working with the database is very simple. Typically in an Express app, you're hitting an API, right? You're sending stuff over, like an API to both post and get whatever. In Meteor, you're just making server calls directly from the client side. And I can say, hey, server, do this. Then the server can go run a bunch of code, come back, and give me the results. It's like a total seamless connection between client-side and server-side code. And it's a build tool, so it handles a lot of extra little stuff. And personally, even though I'm kind of using Redux, I'm not really using Redux because I kind of don't have to throughout my process here. Okay, so back to some data visualization stuff. You can see React DOM is pretty huge. It's 5.8%. Can't get rid of it. Chart.js is 4% of my app. And guess what? I'm using Chart.js only in administrative tools that I am going to see myself. Like, users are never going to see Chart.js. But because of how it's being loaded right now, non-dynamically, everyone's getting Chart.js and they don't need it. So this is a 4%, 127 kilobytes I can shave off. Again, we have a bunch of stuff like Lodash, right? Here I'm importing the entire Lodash package instead of an individual Lodash module, maybe. I can show you a little bit more about how I solved loading all of Lodash. Again, Moment, we're using all of Moment. I don't believe they have it split up, though, in Moment, so you just kind of got to deal with it. Styled components, and some of these are starting to get kind of small. I got rid of this core decorators lib, which is like 0.8%. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, right? So this is the data visualizer. It gives you a nice view on your project and where you can save some space. Now I'm going to do something fun. We're going to cut this out. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to jump into my branch here. It wants me to stash. Okay. I think it's optimized. I think that's the branch name. Let me just check. Untracked working files. I just did a git stash, so like git checkout optimized. Oh yeah, I'm using the new version of npm and there's a new package lock file. I don't want to commit it. Remove it for now. Git checkout optimized. Okay. And now let's fire this up in a non-production version of this. And I can show you some of the code changes that I did to sort of solve those issues. Like I mentioned, first things first, I got a cool 900 kilobytes solved just by removing that AWS package that I had no idea was so gigantic. You can see I sort of leave bundle visualizer in my packages here that I can just uncomment out whenever I want to check it out again. You got to load this up in production build. And I'll show you how I'm using my, what's it called? My React bundler here. So routes, let's head to the routes where we're going to see this in action. I apologize for this color scheme. I was using my normal color scheme and then I did an update to VS Code seconds before I started this stream, and it of course broke the theme for some reason. So let's check it out. You can see that I built a little helper function called loadmang. Loadmang is very super simple. It's really just saving me some boilerplate code. And really, one thing I didn't like about these dynamic imports using React Loadable is that your import statements went from liners to 4-liners, right? You were running this function that was React Loadable. I was passing it in my loading component, and then I was passing it in my import, right? And man, I just don't like 4 lines to 1 line. So I wrote this helper that defaults to always using the same loading component. And now I turned it into a 1-liner where I'm simply hitting my loadbang function, and then I'm just throwing in a function, which is this dynamic import. Okay, so really what this is doing, right, is now store layout, cart wrapper, receipt, all 3 of these don't, they're not loaded until I need them. I'm not doing anything fancy in my routes, right? This is just really straight up normal. The component name didn't even change, right? This is store layout. This is the same component it was. All I did was replace the import line from import store layout from store layout to import store layout equals, and then I'm hitting this loadmang function, which is simply just throwing it into Loadable, React Loadable, and I'm importing it here, just like that. And what that's doing is basically creating these bundles that they don't all need to come down the line at once, and your initial bundle size is much smaller. So that is the big way that I save space, by doing exact dynamic imports using Meteor. So this is saving me a ton of loading time. Now, other things that I've done here, let's find a Lodash here. I'll show you. This is interesting here. Yeah, let's find a good one. So, for instance, you may have, I'll show you, this is an example of what not to do. So in the past, you might have said, okay, I want to get find index and pull at from Lodash, right? But if you do all of your imports like this, you still load the entire Lodash package. It just loads all of Lodash and then gives you find index and pull at. What we really want to do is load simply find index and simply pull at instead of all of Lodash, right? So like, why are you loading and bringing in the entirety of the Lodash package into your bundle if you don't need it? And you really don't. So in a way to get around that, let's do this one right here. We can do this, and you can see I'm now importing unique by. Let me get rid of this search over here. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm now importing unique by, but I'm actually going directly to the folder structure. So I'm saying Lodash / unique by. Now, not every package is going to work this way, and I'll show you how to figure out how to find this. But basically, unique by from Lodash / unique by, and now this file only loads unique by and it's not loading the entirety of Lodash. It's going to save you a bunch of kilobytes in bundle size, and that's an easy win right there. So let's head to my packages here. I'm going to show you how you can figure this out. If we open up our node modules folder and we scroll down, like I said, you can't do this with every package, but some of them, like Lodash, make it nice and easy. And if we scroll down, You'll see Lodash right here as a folder, and inside of Lodash, you can see each of these Lodash methods has its own file. And if we scroll down far enough, we're going to find unique by. So like good on Lodash for building this out this way. Unique by. And if we open up unique by, we'll be able to, you can see that they're exporting unique by as itself, right? It's just exporting unique. Do it. There's other packages that you can't. For instance, if you're trying to simply just load render from React DOM, no, that's not going to work. The whole thing's going to blow up. But I invite you to try it anyways, right? Because, why not? So between the bundle visualizer, basically the biggest thing it did was illuminate a package that didn't need to be loaded, and it showed me where all my size is going, right? Where everything is caught up. The biggest thing here, other than that, is this React Loadable. And like I said, I just made a helper function for myself. Typically, you can see in React Loadable's documentation, you would simply just do it as a loadable, like they did loadable component equals, and then the same thing, loadable, where they imported something and then a loading component, and then just use loadable component. Now I took it a little bit a different approach, and I just exported this function here, and now I don't have to have a new component name. I'm just importing cart wrapper equals loadmang, whatever. I can make some of this code available. I just named it loadmang as a joke, so I'll probably change that name if this was something I was passing along. But so Blake says, couldn't you do import unique by from Lodash? And you could do that. And I mentioned on that before. Here's you're doing it here, but in this case, you're still bringing in all of Lodash, and then you're just pulling out find index and pull at. So if I were to have all of my imports look like this, you would still see in your bundle visualizer that's getting you. Cool. Yeah, other than that, it's just being aware of what your packages you're bringing in. Like I said, you can use these dynamic imports anywhere. See, I'm using them in my routes, and I'm just using normal routes like this, but I'm also using them in my layout file. And here, I'm importing this admin whatever. So this stuff's all coming in through the same thing, being dynamically imported. And I'm using these route components to display them. And this is going to work anywhere you need to do this. Is the stream turning off and on? It's potentially doing that. It's possibly my internet connection, although internet's probably been fine here. It could also be my computer. Yes, I do love VS Code. It's pretty sweet. I actually didn't like it at first. Like a lot of things, I didn't like it at first, and I changed my mind. I didn't like React at first either. Now I'm a big fan. Move to trash. What are the advantages over Sublime Text? Personally, over Sublime Text, more so than Atom, right? Because Atom's big deal is performance, and Sublime Text obviously kills Atom in performance, but I also found VS Code to kill Atom in performance. So between VS Code and Sublime Text, my biggest things are ease of use. So like, to get linting up and running in Sublime Text, it's not like super difficult, right? But it doesn't make it easy on you. And VS Code really makes it easy on you, and it does that for a lot of features like that, like the Git features and stuff like that. The integrations are just a lot nicer. It gives you a little bit more of a visual interface, but it also does a better job at telling you what went wrong. Like we have the output console and the debug console and stuff like that right here in VS Code is going to really complain at you if stuff's broken. But in Sublime Text, it'll often like fail silently and it just won't work. And you'll try to figure out why it won't work. You'll have to open up the debug console and check that. This is going to complain at you and say, hey, something's wrong with your linting, blah, blah, blah. Here's how to fix it. I found it to be as performative as Sublime Text and basically just function a little bit nicer when it comes to integrations. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I like the interface. I like the built-in Git stuff. I like the, find and replace is super nice and fast. There's some little features there. Just a lot of like built-in little niceties that Sublime Text doesn't come with. Okay, I think I crashed my code here. Let's see what's going on. I had to trash my modules again. Yeah, let's see. Somebody asked why I lost or did I lose interest in Polymer, seeing as I use React and Meteor so often, and I didn't use Polymer for anything other than experiments. I think it's cool. I think the Shadow DOM is cool and interesting. That said, this is my this website's sort of my baby here, and I don't know if I would have gone with Polymer for it, because seeing as I need like a full-on framework here, but I think Polymer is great. Shadow components or Shadow DOM, building your own components. I think that's really the future. We'll sort of see how this all ends up. Who knows where React goes with the Shadow DOM and stuff like that too. I have no idea, to be honest. But yeah, no, I'm still keeping an eye on Polymer. It kind of bummed me out that they changed it so much from version, I think, pre-1 to 1 in terms of the syntax, and like broke all of my tutorials. So maybe I'm a little bitter, but no, I enjoy using it. Just nothing big time. What else? Sidebar. I'll show you this. An example of using a I was thinking here that I had my ads being loaded in as a dynamic component, but I'm not. So I guess that's a bad example here. But yeah, so I mean, really, like I said, what you want to do is have a good idea of where your code is getting its size from. You want to be able to assess that really easily. You can do a lot of those same things simply in your network and performance and stuff like that here in your Google tools here, but the bundle visualizer is just really such an awesome tool built in. You might as well use it. Let's see. I'm not going to get good times on this right now because my CPU is hammered. But we're going to see some much bigger improvements when profiling. So yeah, I mean, this took a long time to get to first load, but it's a CPU issue. It's not a size issue here with my bundle. But yeah, so this is pretty much it. Dynamic imports and Meteor are an excellent thing because you should read about it. It does this whole exact bundling, so there's no overlap in your bundles. Nobody's getting things twice that they don't need. So all of that stuff makes it a big win. Now I'm going to push these changes live in a little bit. I need to do more testing on the store side of things. I obviously don't want to break anything there. But yeah, other than that, everything else is, the site is more than half the size of an initial bundle download than it was at the beginning of this video, just due to those small changes that we've gone over here. And you can make all those small changes and get your site loading in half the time than it was before. Okay, let's answer more questions here. What are some good startup projects other than to-do lists to learn new frameworks? Yeah, I mean the to-do list is usually great because you get access to like updating, inserting, that sort of stuff. I usually take things in a different direction where you can do updating and inserting, but maybe like try to find a more fun way to do it. Like in my one series, I did a voting application because that way you're still inserting, right? You're inserting things into the database and you're updating when you vote on them. Another thing is like pick things that just interest you, right? And you could have something that is basically a checklist, but not a checklist. For instance, like I said, I made a kung fu app where I could store all my kung fu movies. It's basically a giant checklist, right? It's a big old list of movies that I've seen and haven't seen. But it made it more fun for me because you're doing the same functions and stuff like that, but it's interesting, right? It's a little bit more interesting. But I think that To Do app is you know, it's a good use case because it gives you all that stuff. It's a bad use case because it doesn't give you some real world stuff like routing and like real code structure. But those things are big and tend to take time. Insight on new videos coming up. Yeah, man. Let me see. I have more content being created or wanting to be created than I've had in a long time. So let's go to my videos here. And I don't know if you can see these very well, but as you can see, I have like, I'm going to do Gatsby videos because I really liked Gatsby. I'm going to do a series on getting better at JavaScript, like going from basic beginner stuff to feeling confident building web apps. I also wanted to continue my How to Build a Blog series that I did precisely one video on. I wanted to go over some of my favorite code pens. And you can see I have a big old, these are all these videos right here for one series. I plan on doing a Figma series very, very soon, like this month, next month soon. Figma is my new favorite design app. And yeah, and what else? I'm going to be doing an intermediate React Native series to finish up that one, the React Native stuff that I've been doing. Love React Native. I'm going to be doing more VS Code stuff where we're maybe going to be creating a package, creating a theme, that sort of stuff. I thought about doing a Meteor and React testing series. I don't know if the interest is there. I've been doing a lot of testing, so I have a little bit of insight there. Some advanced Meteor and React stuff, some intermediate Meteor with Blaze stuff. I wanted to do a course basically just on ES6, one on getting better at CSS. You can see my list of stuff that I've been wanting to do is just outrageously long, and I need to just get to it. That's really just all there is to it. So that's pretty much how it's going to go. There's going to be a lot of new series coming out. I have a lot of time to record stuff right now, so keep your eyes open. What about Vulkan JS? Vulkan is super cool. I've been having my eye on Vulkan JS for a little while now. Vulkan JS is basically, it came out of the Meteor community, essentially. It's a project that is like sort of like a starter for using a bunch of cool stuff like GraphQL and Meteor, or I don't know, does it use Meteor? I don't know. It's originally based off of the the Telescope package, which was basically building like internet, like real-time internet forums. So Vulkan is really super cool. It's something I'm keeping my eye on. It's not something that's on my to-do list right now, but you know, could be. We'll see. Let's see. Aurelia or Ember.js series. I'm not good enough at either of those two right now, and I'm not using either of them enough to speak on them educatedly, or else I'd probably be into that. I took a bunch of Ember.js courses a couple of years ago. I was getting into it before I got harder into Angular, and but like I said, I'm not the right person for that. To be honest, there are things I'm keeping my eye on, but nothing necessarily I'm super experienced in. My opinions on Elm. It's cool. I'm gonna see. Um, Basically, Elm and that whole business there is one of those things. I feel like will only succeed if there's like a larger community behind it and the community's growing. But I'm not necessarily sold on it yet. Not because of it's like not performative enough or whatever, because it is. It's very exciting in a lot of like technical aspects. I just don't know if the community's there, and like you don't want to like jump on something and the community leaves and whatever, blah blah blah. Like I said, keeping my eyes on it. I'm excited by it. I think it's cool. I don't know enough to dive into it yet, or I don't necessarily have the time to dive into it. So keep my eyes open. Um, how am I feeling? I'm feeling good. Yeah, I maybe sound a little bit sick still, maybe a little congested. I've been sick no longer. We recorded a couple episodes of Syntax on Friday, and I was feeling really good. So, yeah. By the way, if you haven't, check out syntax.fm, Wes Boss and I. It's our podcast. I just edited episode number 4. I'm going to be editing number 5 in a bit here. And yeah, we're talking about some cool stuff in the next couple episodes. So the first one, episode 4, we're talking about JavaScript tooling, where we get into sort of how we configure our setups and what we like to use, and a little bit of descriptions about stuff like Webpack, the what and why of Webpack. In the 5th episode, we're getting into freelancing skills. We're going to be talking about how to get clients, working with clients, keeping clients, making money, and just like being a good freelancer and not failing totally at it. Yeah. Vue versus NG4 versus React. So this question is, how do I feel about Vue versus Angular 4 versus React? I feel like I'm still loving React, and React Fiber is going to be coming out. Like, I saw Dan Abramov give a tweet with like a little winky face this week or something. So, or it was like the sunglasses face. So that makes me feel like React Fiber is probably coming out very super soon, maybe this week. Who knows? And yeah, I'm still loving React, right? I like Angular. I liked Angular. I felt kind of got burned by the Angular 2 update and just haven't really been back to it. I never really super bothered with Angular 2 other than a cursory glance. And now that it's Angular 4, I'm feeling kind of the same way. It's cool that it uses TypeScript, but yeah, I don't know. We're going to see. And Vue sort of is what I would have wished Angular 2 was. Made by some really cool people. That said, I don't use it for anything. I've experimented with it, but if I pick something, I'm gonna use React for some reason. It just clicks. It makes a lot of sense. I like the syntax, and I like the way it's easy to get going with once you know what you're doing. What's so weird is that I was very like not into React for not necessarily a long time, but like a decent amount of time where I was just like, I don't get it. I don't understand why you would want to learn it. I don't like the syntax. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like HTML in my JavaScript. And the more and more I used it, the less and less all of those concerns. They just totally went away. And as you can probably see, like every project I'm doing is React. And yeah, it's just nice. It feels nice. Works nice to work in. Yeah, more Gatsby and styled components. You'll be seeing that more. I did a little video on styled components. I haven't done much more on my site with them other than that because I wanted to get this sort of bundle size fixed. This bundle size cut down quite a bit. I was feeling really inspired by how fast my scotttolinsky.com site loads. I built that in Gatsby with styled components and was just completely blown away. I'm getting 200 millisecond load time, 200 millisecond. I don't know. I was getting, sub 1/10 of a second load times. And I was just feeling very, very good about that. So I wanted to slim up the Level Up Tuts site quite a bit. Cool. Any more questions, or I'm gonna sign off for the day. You can see here the site's gonna be a lot slimmer next time you browse to it after I do some more testing here. Somebody said, what are my top tips to optimize a Meteor app? You should just watch this video from the start because there's a bunch of stuff in here. But really just using the imports as they're, use your imports folder, use dynamic imports when you can, keep things separated concerns, use less of like the client and the server folder. You can see my servers are a total mess right now. I just have a bunch of method files in here. Needs to get cleaned up. Again, the site's old, so needs a lot of work here to make it nice and fancy again. Cool. So that's pretty much it. Unless anyone has any last minute questions, I'm going to sign off here. Check it out. This is the bundle visualizer. This is React Loadable, which is an awesome package you should work on if you're not. Like if you're using React at all, React Loadable is it. Right here, here's some links here talking about with the Webpack and stuff like that. Yeah, use this thing no matter which platform you're using. Yeah, it's super cool. Cool. All right. Well, that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial here. I'm going to be, like you saw my list of stuff I want to do. It's massive. So I'm going to get working on some of that stuff, and hopefully you'll see a lot of both free and premium content on the site very soon. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want to help support, head over to leveluptutorials.com. You can go to /store and check out the Level Up store and, just buy a couple of things if you'd like. It really helps me create a bunch of free content so I can do this full time, right? Because that's fun. And yeah. Again, syntax.fm for our podcast. We're going to be talking about a lot of great stuff. We have a lot of episodes planned and a lot of fun stuff coming up. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you later in another live stream or in another tutorial. All right, bye.